Where is it? Where? Come on. Hey, baby. Oh. If you're at all like me, then you've probably felt lost, directionless, and uncertain frequently. I was always someone with big aspirations, but I was also someone who was often pulled in 100 different directions at once. The worst is when you wake up first thing in the morning and you just have absolutely no idea what to do. I mean, why even get up? What's the point? Throughout the years, I've read over 100 books on self-development. And I admit it would make for a really good shot composition to have all those books arrayed out around me, maybe in teetering stacks beside me, but I read everything on Kindle, so. So, as I was saying, I've read a lot of books in my time about how to live my best life. And I know that my experiences aren't universal, but I will tell you right now, my top 3, the wisdom from which I'm most benefiting right now in my life, are The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, and Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray. Affiliate links are down below. You know what to do. However, a lot of my habits, including the most powerful habit that's changed my life the most and that's also one of the easiest that I want to tell you all about today, didn't come from any book. Rather, it came from a period of my life in which I was very fired up and I needed to get organized. I needed to find ways to get myself organized so that I could direct my energy in ways that would be beneficial to me and that would allow me to get my life together. I'm going to go into some personal backstory here, and if you don't care about that, I chapter all my videos so you can skip right to the meat where I talk about what this prime habit is. But I do think that the personal history of how I developed this is important. So I was a book smart kid. I always excelled in school. School was fairly easy for me. I was always at the top of the class, and I cared about that. That became part of my identity. And I would always try, at least hard enough, to stay at the top academically. I'm not saying that I was like the most socially adept or the most athletic, but I had my thing, and that thing was that I got the best grades. And it was fairly easy for me even through high school. And because it was fairly easy for me, I didn't often have occasion to learn what it really means to grind down and be absolutely determined that no matter how much effort this requires, no matter how much time, I'm going to do it, because it didn't actually take that much effort and time on most occasions for me to excel in school. And I didn't care enough about anything else at that time in my life when I was young in order to learn that it takes more than aptitude. It takes grit, it takes determination, it takes hard work in order to accomplish things that are really great. In university, I decided that I was going to focus more on other parts of my life and not try to be the best or the top of the class, get perfect grades all the time. But I would still be succeeding according to other people's principles and other people's tasks. I would have assignments. They would tell you what to learn, what to study, what to work on. And formal education did not, I feel, adequately prepare me for what the real world is like. Ooh, yeah. Years out of college, I didn't have a defined career path. I didn't have what my parents wanted me to have, which was a job at a corporation, the ladder of which I could climb steadily and have a secure salary and benefits. I didn't have any of that. And I didn't know if that's what I wanted or if that's where I should be headed. I didn't know much of anything. And I needed to learn how to become self-directed. I was great at accomplishing the things to an excellent standard when someone else gave me an assignment, but I had to realize no one was going to take charge of my own life, except for me. I had to be that person. I could feel the years slipping by, slipping through my fingers. I felt like I had been ahead for so long in my life. I could look around at all my other peers and think, oh, I'm getting better grades than them, or I'm doing more academically than they are. But now I felt like I looked around at all my peers and they knew what they wanted to do with their lives. They were on tracks that were sending them towards success, whatever that meant to them. But I didn't feel like I was moving in that direction. I could feel the years just slipping through my fingers, and my greatest fear became becoming an old man, looking back and thinking I'd never committed myself to an opportunity that I was able to make the most of, and I feel like I had so much potential that I left on the table. I still feel that fear sometimes, don't get me wrong. I'm not speaking to you from the other side where all of life is bliss and all the goals have been accomplished and I'm a guru on top of the mountain, but I have made a lot of progress throughout the years. And a big part of that was this period of my life when I realized I can't just be living this listless life. I can't just be making money here and there and spending my downtime playing video games or even reading books, binge watching TV shows, hanging out with friends. Like, not all of those are bad things in moderation, but when they're taking the place of ambition and of having a mission, it was leaving me feeling empty and lost and like I was falling behind. And so I needed to get organized. One of the things I started doing during this time, and this isn't the habit that this video is about, but it's important for context, is I started tracking a lot of things about my life in a spreadsheet. And I'll probably show a sample spreadsheet rather than my own personal one, because there's a lot of personal information in there. But I started tracking a lot of things, such as how I spend my hours each day, how much I sleep, what my mood is, and whether or not I completed certain daily habits or tasks that I set out for myself. And this had a lot of benefits. It allowed me to start to tell how I was doing over time. I could look back over the week or over the month and also correlate how much I was doing my habits or how I was spending my time with how my mood was, with how I felt about myself. And it allowed me to get a rational, objective view of my own life and start to tweak things and take more control over how I was spending my time and directing my energy. I'll probably make a sample as a Google Doc, and I'll include that as a link in the description if you want to copy my template and start doing this to yourself. One lesson that was really hammered home during this time was the value of consistency. Doing something every day not only was more likely to add up to a real world result, but it was more likely to become a habit and just become an ingrained part of how I live. And if I did something every day for long enough, it would start to feel wrong not to do it. And so I started developing these daily essential habits that I would track in this spreadsheet. I got a whiteboard for myself and I started writing out these daily habits and checking them off each day and then erasing that check mark each night. And that's where the first seed for this prime habit, and that's what I've decided to call it because I need some epic sounding name, even though I've never called it that before making this video. But that's what the seed for this prime habit was. I started just writing down those daily essential habits, but then after that it was a natural progression to start writing down the individual tasks that I wanted to accomplish that day as well. And that's basically it. The prime habit is to, every night before bed, write down exactly what you want yourself to accomplish the following day. And I break this down into 3 categories. We have the essential daily habits, the stuff that you want to do every single day. These you won't have to write down fresh every day. You just check it off as you do it, then erase that check mark at night. Then we have the schedule of time-sensitive appointments and activities that you have to do, like 2 o'clock appointment to get my tires changed, 3 o'clock picking up my friend from the airport, whatever it is. And then the third category is important, but not time-sensitive things that you want to get done the following day. How long do you think that takes? Honestly, for me, it's usually less than 3 minutes. It could be even shorter than that if you're just starting this and you don't have much that you want to set the expectation for yourself. You want to start small. Just write, your schedule, one daily habit, and maybe one important thing that's not time sensitive that you want to get done the following day. 2 minutes, 1 minute if you're fast. But what's the value that you get out of doing this 2-3 minute habit every night? For me, the value is that I get to wake up every day and not have to make any of those decisions. I know exactly what my mission is. I know what my purpose is. I know what my next steps are. And every time I accomplish one of those tasks, I get to check it off and I get that flood of satisfaction, pride, and contentment in myself that comes from accomplishing a task like that. And maybe that's something that drives me more than it drives you, but it's also something that you can learn to appreciate and learn to enjoy over time. If you're a recovering porn, masturbation addict, or an addict of any kind, this habit is so much more important for you than it is for someone else. Unstructured time, especially while alone, is enemy number one, or at least in the top 5 for the recovering addict. You're alone, you don't know what to do with yourself, you don't have a mission, you don't have a purpose, and you have opportunity to use, it's likely that you're going to relapse. If not today, then tomorrow or next week. If you're struggling to put together streaks, if you are continuing to relapse despite being absolutely committed to living porn-free and wanting that for yourself, then do yourself the favor of trying out this habit, implementing it into your life. Like I said, not that hard, 3 minutes tops a day, and it will give you momentum and it will build a sense of purpose into your life so that you can wake up each day and know what you're all about on that particular day. I say this a lot, and I'm not the only one in the addiction recovery space, but recovery is as much or more about what you are moving towards as it is what you are moving away from. You know you want to move away from the addictive relapse cycle. You know how much it's harming you, how much it's inhibiting you from forming healthy relationships and tapping your full potential. But what are you moving towards? That impetus to run away from something that's harming you is only so strong, and it will only keep you going for so long. You need something that excites you, that fills you with hope and enthusiasm that you can run toward. And deciding what that's going to be the night before each day starts is an excellent first leap in that direction. Another thing I've said before, and I'll say again, is that when I was learning to ride a motorcycle, I was taught a valuable lesson. And that is that whatever you are looking towards, you will tend to move towards or steer towards as a motorcyclist. So if there's an obstacle on the road, there's a piece of trash or a fallen tire or a rock that's fallen off of a cliffside, and you're staring at that obstacle, willing yourself not to hit it, you are more likely to strike that obstacle and wipe out and have a really bad day. What you want to do is be aware that that obstacle is there, but have your attention, your focus, and your line of sight on the path that you want to take, because you tend to move towards what you are giving your attention to. If your focus is all on getting away from the PMO relapse cycle, and that's what's occupying most of your time, most of your energy, you're going to ironically end up moving towards that, towards porn, more than away from it. I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. You should be learning. You should be gaining knowledge, gaining guidance, giving some attention to your recovery plan. But most of your time should still be focused on where you want to move toward. Be aware of the dangers, prepare for the dangers, but then focus on where you're moving towards. The values, the accomplishments, the goals, everything that you want your life to be filled with. Focus on those things, not on porn. Like I said, simple. I won't drag this video on any longer than it needs to go. You know what to do. Go out, try the prime habit. And if you want to learn about how most people teach themselves to fail and to keep failing and how to break that cycle, click that video. Watch that one too. click it or tap it. You can do either. Or why are you still here? You can go now. Stop following me. Stop following me.